love it.
That's jazz.
So funky. So funky.
Uh-oh.
You can go really far.
This is Ben Christensen here, and I do a little bit of clowning, a little bit of juggling, a little bit of magic. I just love variety art stuff. I love all of it. And so I thought, hey, let's offer something here to all of you guys that is a little bit different than probably some of the other content that's going to be online for this lecture this week. And so I'm going to be teaching, this is kind of intermediate to advanced ball juggling, and this is my first time teaching like more of an advanced type class. Normally I teach like the beginning juggling stuff or some Diabolos things or stuff like that, but I wanted to kind of push a little bit and share some of the things that I've picked up as I've gone to different juggling conventions and things like that in the past and just in my own practice time. And so this is 3, 4, and 5 ball tricks with your host Ben Christensen, this guy. And so what I did here is I filmed myself doing a whole bunch of different tricks, and I'm going to talk you through them with you here. And this is going to be some of it, you're gonna see some people, some drops and stuff. This isn't footage from a show. A lot of times when I was doing physical theater stuff, working with push physical theater, we'd practice at 100% and perform at like 95% of our capacity or more, because we're just really trying to push the limits of that art form, right? Now, when you're juggling, a lot of times I'll perform at like 70% of like my capability, because I want to be able to perform tricks that I can perform 10 times out of 10. And some of the stuff in this video, I can't perform 10 times out of 10. It's not in my show, but they're awesome tricks. And if you get to the point you can nail it every time, put it in there, man. I'm pulling for you. And so there's a lot better jugglers out there than me, but I've been juggling since I was 4 years old. And so I have a number of years of practice under my belt, and I try to just keep, improving as we go. So without any further ado, let's just jump right in here. I'm gonna turn on this first video clip. Let's see what we got. Okay, so this is a 3-ball cascade, and this is kind of your basic juggling pattern. There's so many different good tutorials on YouTube and things to teach 3 balls, and what I'm doing here is I'm showing you one of the exercises I'll use sometimes, and it's called high, low, wide, and then narrow. And basically you're just doing a 3-ball cascade, and this helps you just throw from different angles, different heights, and helps you with some of that stuff. So this is one of the things that I practice at times when I'm warming up, or it will help you get better. Then I'm also showing a flash here, which is taking 3 balls and one right after the other, throwing them higher into the air. This is a good exercise if you're working towards learning how to do 5 balls eventually. This is a great exercise. And oh, I even tried one with a spin. Wow, fancy. All right, moving right along, the next trick I'm showing here is now with 3 balls. I mean, juggling's like anything else, the more you do it, the better you get. So I'm moving on to 4 balls here. This is just the standard 4-ball juggling pattern called the fountain. You can do this synchronous or asynchronous. So I started with async, right, where both hands are throwing at different times, and then synchronous is both hands throwing and catching at the same time. So you have 2 different patterns. It's the same pattern, but 2 different variations on that. 5 balls, once again, the basic pattern is a cascade. Anytime you're doing odd numbers, cascade's the place to start, right? So 3 balls, 5 balls, 7 balls, 9 balls, 11 balls. Cascade's the easiest way to start that. And all the even numbers then typically use a fountain like that, right? So you'll 4 balls, 6, 8, they're all juggled the same way. 6 balls is 3 in your left hand, 3 in your right hand, and that's the way it works. And so this video, mostly we're sticking with 3, 4, and 5 ball tricks. You'll see there's a couple times where I tried 6 balls, and so we're going to just start with the cascade. So we did the cascade with 3 balls, we did the cascade with 5 balls. Now here's a variation using 5 balls, and it's called the W. And basically there's a 3-ball cascade happening in the middle, but there's 2 extra balls being thrown on the outside. Now in order to do this, you'll see that I'm only throwing 1 ball at a time. However, there are times where I have more than 1 ball in my hand at a time. So this is kind of like a multiplex here. Although I'm not throwing 2 balls at a time, so I guess it's technically not a multiplex. But I'm throwing, I also tried to put 1 odd ball in there so you can see a little bit of a difference. I'm sorry on the video quality. I wasn't set up for taping a show or anything here, but I wanted to just jump in and record a whole bunch of these. Now the W, the 2 balls on the outsides always stay on the outside, and then the only ones that are changing position are the 3 in the middle, which is a cascade. So I'll slow it down here for you. You can see it a little bit slower in slow motion. Oh, the beauty of technology, right? And you can see that right there. And so the 2 balls on the outside always just go up and down. They just go up and down. They stay on the same side. And then the 3 in the middle are doing a cascade. So that's a fun one to learn. And you can start practicing that with 3 balls. And I'll show that here in just a moment. So a cascade is this. 1 ball is following just behind the other. Every time that this ball starts to come down, I throw the next ball underneath it, hopefully catching that one. This ball then is coming down, I throw the next one underneath it. So it's always following the ball, it's always going underneath, right? Now this is with 3 balls. We could do it with 4, but instead in sight swap you give every throw a number. These would all be 3s. And what happens for sight swap to work basically is that law of averages, like you have to average everything out to equal the number of balls that you're juggling. So for instance, if all of these numbers are given, all of these throws are given the number 3, then I make 3 throws, each one's a 3, so 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9, and I divide it by the number of throws, which is 3, and it brings me back to 3. Okay, so it sounds complicated. Let's try it with 4 balls. Maybe it will make a little bit more sense. In order to juggle 4 balls in that kind of cascade pattern, I have to throw one higher. Let's see if I can do it here on the camera, keeping it low for you. So what happens is the throw going from my right hand is higher. Normally I throw it even a little bit higher, but I'm trying to keep it in the frame for you here. Oh my. So what's happening is this throw would be given a 5 because it's at the height that I would need to throw it in order to juggle 5 balls. While the lower one is crossing at a number 3 throw because it's lower, as if I'm juggling 3 balls. So when I put that higher throw in, it ends up being 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3. So if I take 5 plus 3, that's 8. I do that 2 times, right? So that's a total of 16. And I did 4 throws divided by 4 balls, brings me back to 4. So 16 divided by 4. So 16 divided by 4 throws, right? Brings me back to 4 ball juggling. That's why the trick works, because the math works. So you can do a cascade with 4 balls in a way. So I guess in sight swap it would just be called a 5-3-5-3 if you're into that type of thing. So anyway, let's jump ahead. Here's a couple more. Here's another way you can do kind of a cascade type feel using juggling 4 balls. This is called a 6-3-3. It looks like this. I'm going to turn the video back on here. A 6-3-3 looks like that. And I'll even try to slow it down here so you can see it a little bit slower. Okay. So now we're going to take a step back here. We're going to take a step back. This is just like we did the W with 5 balls. You can do that with 3 too. This is 3, 4, and 5 ball tricks. So I'm trying to show you some things that kind of scale as you go. You can do them really no matter how many you're doing. And it's basically just every ball stays in its own column, and you just have like a rest basically for each hand as you're doing that trick. So you can do that with 5, you can do it with 3, right? The W. Pretty easy enough. Now we're going to jump into, oh, this is fun. Now we're going to jump into a half shower. I first learned it as a half cascade. Since then I've kind of learned, oh, it's called a half shower. Half shower is, instead of a cascade with every ball going underneath the ball that's falling, instead you throw a ball over the top of the ball that's coming down. And so you can do that with 3 balls, either hand, either direction. If you just throw 1 ball back and forth, let me just pause this here. If you just throw 1 ball back and forth, you get what's called tennis, which is just that 1 ball going back and forth. And I dropped, don't worry, I'll leave it in just because it's live class. 1 ball back and forth would be called tennis. So you can go this way, you can go this way, or you can do 1 ball back and forth. And so that's kind of another fun trick, one of my favorites. And another drop to end that always ends that way. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Back to the practice session. So here's a half cascade. I slowed it down. Usually when you're starting to learn, you throw the ball a little bit higher. Bringing the pattern lower makes it a little bit more difficult. I think it looks smoother, so that's why I perform it down there. But as you're learning a trick, giving yourself that extra time, getting the balls up in the air, just so much easier, so much better for you, and you'll be able to do harder tricks. So here's a half shower with 4 balls. You can do that, of course, either direction. The throwing pattern is a little bit wonky. It's not just like a even keel type thing, and so it's harder with 4 balls for me to like reverse directions in the middle of the pattern. And then of course here we'll up the ante. We'll try half shower then with 5 balls. You can do the same thing, and it's the exact same thing as 3. It's just higher and faster, right? You have that space to add in those extra 2 balls. And so you can throw that ball over the top instead of underneath, and you get that nice half shower pattern. Looks like that. So this is something you can go home and practice, and you can just keep going up and up and up in numbers. I think I give it a try here with 6 balls. Here, let's see how I do. Not bad. Do 6 balls as well. Get them going. I do a couple runs here. Let's see. All right. And that's the 6-ball half shower. All right, we're gonna go back to 3 and we're gonna kind of build up again. Same thing we did before. 3 balls, 1 ball going over, just your right hand throwing over the top is a half shower, right? But now we're moving on to the reverse cascade. So I show you here with 3 balls, instead of throwing underneath, every ball is thrown over the top. And you can do the same thing then. I'll show you here with 5 is a reverse cascade. It's a little bit different motion. And for me, I just kind of exaggerate it. As I'm throwing, it's almost like a little scooping motion. I relax my arms and I try to have good posture, and I bend at the elbows and my hands just kind of rest at about a 90-degree angle, and that's kind of where it is. Right? Now a lot of times when you're juggling and you're doing these ball tricks, you have more time than you think you do too. So you can actually feel that ball in your hand for a moment. You don't have to like try to get rid of it as soon as you catch it. You have a little bit of time to just kind of hold on to that. So here when we're doing this reverse cascade, normally my juggling motion, my hands just kind of make a circle going down on the outside of my body and up through more towards the center of my body. For the reverse cascade, I reverse that direction. My hand comes up on the outside and down on the middle, and up and down and up and down. And I'll try to show you with 3 balls here. So I'll exaggerate it a little bit. Okay, and then the other way. Now I find that I need to do this more when I'm keeping the pattern low. When I'm going high, and when I'm doing like 5 clubs and things like that, it really is very much an up and down motion. Up and down and up and down. It's not a big scoop the way I'm specifically doing club juggling. And it's just kind of what juggling school you're from, whether you're doing Russian or not. And so that's just a little tip from me in the way that I do it. And if you want to do it like me, then you can, as you bring it lower, or the 5-ball reverse cascade, I really get my hands kind of making those circles. So you can do reverse cascade that way. All right, next trick. We're going to go into some multiplex tricks, and these are some of my favorites. So I'm just starting here practicing with 2, and you see I have 2 different balls. I'm trying to get a little bit of separation. When I hold the balls, I'm just holding here, and when I toss, I'm just giving a little separation. One's being thrown with my fingers, one's being thrown more with my hand. And it's just kind of a something you just gotta practice and play around with. See if you can get separation between those 2 balls and then catch them back in your hand. And that allows you to do tricks like 3 in 1 hand with a multiplex, which you'll see there. Yeah, who is that guy? That guy's doing pretty good. He's a pretty good juggler right there, if I do say so myself. All right, so here's with 4 balls, and I'm just doing the same toss and throw right in front of me there. And then same thing with 5 balls. Multiplex with 5 balls. And there's other variations on this, of course. I'll show you a couple other variations here. So 1 up and then 4 up. So that single ball, that column goes right through the middle, or you can cross the outside throws like that there. And you need to have them, for me, at slightly different heights, otherwise they will hit in the air, right? So it's important too. Then there's other variations on this. I mean, you can just kind of go as far as your imagination will allow as you're doing some of these different tricks. And for juggling, I'm afraid there's no easy way to learn how to do all the things without practicing. And so hopefully I'm being helpful here and just kind of opening up your minds. If you're at the point where you're already juggling 5 balls, you've already practiced, right? A good deal amount. And so now it's just kind of, here's some other options and things you can start to look with. But the big thing for the multiplexes is really getting that separation on the throw. And then when I collect it, most of the time I'm collecting in my palm first and then my finger, although not always. I just kind of catch them however I can, but I'm trying to catch one and then the other, one and then the other, one and then the other. So here's that same throw, but using 6 balls. And it's the same thing as a 3-ball cascade. I'm just using that multiplex out of my hand there. Now in order to start that, let me pause the video there here for a moment. In order to start that, what I'm doing on that first throw is I'm starting with 2 balls, I'm starting with 3 in each hand, just because it's easier for me. You could stack it and try to throw two out of that position, or you could hold it this way, put a 4th ball on top and try to throw 2 out of there. For me to go into 6 balls for that multiplex, the easiest thing for me to do is just take the 2 on top. Well, I'm going to throw this one, and then if I have 3 in this hand as well, you have to use your imagination. I'm going to toss the 2 in those positions up and try to get them into that position where they will fall then, and I can catch them. So the first throw ends up looking like this. And then I'm into it, right? Oh, it's harder to do this when I'm looking at the screen. All right, so that first throw ends up being that. So, and it's just a tiny little toss with this one, because I'm gonna have to get those other balls out of my hand in order to catch them off the multiplex, okay? Okay, moving right along. Here's another multiplex. This one, I'm trying the best I can in this flip to split the 2 so that instead of coming down in this way, they're coming down separated. So I'm actually catching them, and I can go over the top or I can go underneath. I like to go over the top. More of a reverse cascade is easier for me. And actually, just because of how I practiced it, it's probably wrong because it's not symmetrical. Out of my right hand, a lot of times as I'm throwing, I push with my wrist, and these end up separating, right? Like that. Now, on my other hand, I don't use that technique because for whatever reason, it just still never got over the awkwardness. Okay, confession, I haven't spent enough time practicing it. So a lot of times those ones will still come off more like I do the multiplex that's straight up and down. I'll throw that with the ball that's on my fingertips moving across my body, the other one falling back down, where with the other hand, I push the ball in the palm of my hand so it splits. Anyway, that's the way I do it. But you should learn it right. You should do it so it's symmetrical. Be a good juggler. Learn all the tricks with both hands. You can do it. All right, let's move right along here. So here's another 3-ball variation on a multiplex. One hand is just left empty for a moment, and I collect the ball that's coming over the top in a hand that's already holding a ball so that I can then throw it underneath. And I just like the way that one feels. It's one of my favorite 3-ball tricks just because I like the way it feels as a juggler. It's not that impressive for you guys, but for me, I love it. Now, here are a couple tricks. This is a 4-ball trick and a 5-ball trick that I learned from Matt Hall at the Mondo in Minneapolis. And this is still one of my favorite 5-ball tricks to perform. And it's the same type of thing here where I'm going to take a ball and I am going to put it into a hand that already has another ball in it. And so there's a 4-ball variation and there's a 5-ball variation. And I tried to show you here with an odd colored ball so you can kind of follow the pattern a little bit easier. In order to really do this well, I should have more separation between the multiplex that's being thrown off. They really should be, instead of up and down, they should be like this more. And if you can get that separation, that will really help you as you're learning this trick. So the 4-ball variation starts off, I'm going to have to jump back here on my video as I'm watching and saying this. Starts off by throwing 1 ball into the air, and then after you throw that 1 ball into the air, the next throw is 2 from your second hand. And that starts the progress. When that first ball then comes back down, that is the ball that is, it's always the ball at the bottom of the multiplex that's thrown, that's caught and shuffled over to the other hand. And this will take a little bit of practice, but you just kind of get in a groove and it feels real good. This is a fun 4-ball trick, and I like the 5-ball trick even better. And the 5-ball trick for me really doesn't seem any harder than the 4, but you probably want to try to learn it with 4 balls first, because it's one less ball to have to try to manage as you're learning some of these tricks here. So there's the 4-ball variation, and here's the 5-ball variation. You'll see here I start by throwing 1 ball, again out of the hand that has 3 balls in it, and then you just go into it as that first multiplex goes up. As it comes back down, you take that bottom ball and you shuffle it over to the hand that's collected, that's caught the ball that's on the top of the multiplex. This sounds way more complicated than it is, and that's why I just wanted to make sure you could see it here and you could watch it. And that's still one of my favorite tricks to do. Okay, here we're getting into a trick, a 4-ball trick. I just wanted to show here that you can, instead of keeping those balls on the same side, you can cross them if you throw them slightly different heights, right? You can cross them, or you can take one and you can throw it over the top. And this kind of goes back here. I might take this clip and put it back here for just a moment. So you can basically do kind of like a half shower thing. Okay, this next one is a 6x4 is another sight swap turn. So I'm throwing it the top ball, the height that if you're juggling 6 balls, that ball should be. However, the X means that it's crossing. And then that second ball, the one underneath, is basically, it's not crossing, it's just being thrown up and collected right back down. So this is not a multiplex. I'm not holding more than 1 ball in my hand at a time as I'm doing this juggling trick. It just goes up and it crosses, and this is my dad's favorite. That's my dad's favorite 5-ball trick. Okay, Mill's Mess. Here's what I'm going to do for you in order to describe Mill's Mess. I'm going to take that odd colored ball and I'm going to place it in each one of the 3 spots. Alright, so this is what the trick looks like. And so you have it in the bottom position, you have it on the top position, and then I'm going to change it one more time to the middle position. And you can go back and re-watch this if you need to. I'll also take the footage here and we'll show it one more time, each position with the footage slowed down, okay? So let's do that. Let's slow down the footage. So when it's in the first position here, this is underneath. Basically what I'm doing is catching the ball and I'm bringing it underneath my arm and I'm throwing it. And then I catch it, bring it underneath my arm and I throw it. Catch it, bring it underneath my arm and I throw it. On the top position, I'm catching the ball across my body and throwing it back over here, and catching it and throwing it back over here, and catching it and throwing it back over here. And then when it's in the middle position, it's just kind of floating. Basically, it's being thrown as my hand starts to move. So I catch it, let me just see that one more time here. So I catch it across my body and it's being thrown as my hand is moving back. So there's a lot to kind of manage here. It really helps if I break it down. And one of the best exercises you can do to learn it is to take 3 balls like I'm showing here and start with your arms crossed and just try to do 3 throws as you're moving your hands, as you're just moving them from this position to this position. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And you just do that, and then it becomes a continuous. If you try to go on to 4 throws, and then try to go on to 5 throws. Mills Mess was one of those things that for me just kind of clicked. And I'm sure there's better tutorials on YouTube on how to do that, but for me, that's kind of where it started, is that crossing my arms and uncrossing them as I'm trying it. And so Mills Mess is a trick that you can do and keep bringing it up here too. So since this is a 3, 4, and 5 ball trick class, that's with 3 balls, and then here's with 4 balls, right? And then of course you can do it with 5 balls. I can't, so here's my attempt. Okay, so here's a thing real quick while we're talking about it. So for the 4 ball mills, one of the things that helps me to get into it is a typical 4 ball pattern is thrown from the inside of your body, the ball goes, and I catch it on the outside of my body. When I'm getting ready for mills, I reverse that, and I start bringing the 4 ball pattern the other direction, and it's that I usually start with my right hand, and then it's just one of those throws. I throw a little bit further, and it just gets me into it to reaching across. And it doesn't feel terribly different than a 3 ball mills. Oh my, we're gonna try it one time for you, and then we'll go back to the video footage. All right, watch that clip. That's what I'm trying to do, right? Okay, so it helps my brain to reverse the direction of those throws before I start Mills Mess. All right, we got a couple more tricks here for you, 3, 4, and 5 balls. Let's look at a shower pattern. We already did the half shower. You can do a full shower, right? And so my mom always taught me it's important to take a shower every day. And so I do that. And then you can do it with juggling too. One hand does all the work on this one, which is very different than the cascade. A lot of times this is what people who are not jugglers think of when they do juggling. And so, but one hand does all the work, throwing the ball over the top, while the other one just catches and feeds it over. You can also, you'll see here, I kind of throw one ball vertically in order to change direction. And then I'm showing a trick here that is called the box. The box, one ball just travels back and forth across the bottom, while the other one goes up and down, just vertically on the outside. That would be a 4 throw, right? And so then that brings me into another one of my favorite tricks, which is called the extended box. And they do switch positions a little bit. The ball in the middle, that ends up being in the middle of the pattern, still just goes up and down, but the others travel around the outside, bringing them out a little bit further. And I just really like the way it looks, especially if you can kind of keep that middle ball isolated. So you can do the same type of thing. You can do a box with 4 balls, but we'll start here with a shower pattern, 4 ball shower. And once again, one hand is just doing all the work, throwing it. The other one is passing it over. And then in order to change direction midstream, you're going to have to throw one ball real high. You have to throw about one ball real high. The other one is just a small throw underneath it, so that you can catch this one and hand it back over to your other hand before this one makes its descent all the way down. And that's just kind of a fun little thing to play with. It just kind of feels cool, and some people are really good at that type of stuff. So, but you have to be able to do a shower in both directions in order to do that. And some people can keep it going, a box, 4 ball box like that too. So let's move along here. 5 ball shower. Like again, this is the same thing as the 3 ball. It's just higher and it's faster. And it just takes practice, and you'll be able to get there. So let's see how it looks. That's a decent run. Now I say a run. In juggling, there's a couple different terms. They call it a flash when you when you make it through the pattern one time. And so if I'm juggling 4 balls, 4 throws would be a flash. In order to officially be a juggle, you have to have as many throws and catches, twice as many throws and catches as you're using balls. So in order to juggle 3 balls, you're supposed to have at least 6 catches. So if you can do 6 catches, you're a juggler. Congratulations. Oh, and here's another fun variation. This is a high-low shower. One ball is being thrown real high, and a second ball is being thrown underneath it. So it's like a 7, although the height you need to throw for 7 balls, and the height you throw for 3 balls. And you catch the ball that's thrown second before you catch the ball you threw first. Okay, we're gonna end now with some site swap stuff. Hopefully this has been enjoyable for you. Thanks for letting me share some 3, 4, and 5 ball tricks. Here's some site swap stuff. Since we talked about some of the different heights and things that we throw things, this first one you can just run continuously for 3 balls. It's called a 4-4-1. And so 4-4-1, 2 balls are thrown up on the outside, and 1 ball is handed underneath, and then you just continue it. 4-4-1. 4-4-1, 4-4-1, 4-4-1. We'll slow it down here for just a moment so you can see what's really happening. Another fun site swap pattern you can do here is a 5-3-1. So you're throwing the height that you would need to throw for 5 balls, then you're throwing the height that you would need to throw for 3 balls, and then the 1 is the hand across. 5-3-1, 5-3-1. And I'm a visual learner, so hopefully seeing some of this helps you more than me describing it. It's just difficult for me to describe juggling tricks. It's easier to say, hey, watch this. Okay, now you try it, and try to help you troubleshoot some of this. Now we're going to jump into doing this with 5 balls. Here's a couple site swaps you can do with 5 balls. Kind of like the 4-4-1. With 5 balls, you can do 6-6-6-1. 6-6-6, oh, 6-6-6-6-1. 6-6-6-6-1, 6-6-6-6-1. You're throwing on the outside the height that you would need to throw for 6 balls, and then in order for the math to work out for site swap, you have that hand over in the underneath with that 5th throw. And that's another pattern that can just be run continuously. You can just do it, keep doing it over and over and over again. Another fun site swap one that I've learned for 5, probably the easiest one I've learned, is a 7-5-7-5-1. So I'm going to take, out of my right hand, I throw a 7, so it's a little bit higher than the 5-ball cascade. And then I throw a 5, normal from the left hand, another 7 with the right hand, a normal 5 with the left hand, and then I have space to hand that 1 over. 7-5. Or wait a minute here, or would it be a 5-7-5-7-1? Tell me in the comments which one it should be. Thank you. All right, my brain is hurting after all this juggling analyzing here. So I think that we're gonna call it good with that. And there might be a couple times I'll be able to just, if you have questions, hopefully some of the slow-mo stuff helped you. If you have questions, let me know. I'm happy to help where I can. And there's just a lot of good information out there, and there's some stuff that's not great information, so check your sources. And there's a great trick called the Encyclopedia of Ball Juggling, great book, Encyclopedia of Ball Juggling. If you can get that, that's a great place to start. And that's a great place to start, and there's a lot of good information in that book. It just it's an encyclopedia. It covers all kinds of stuff. It has site swap diagrams, it has drawn pictures, it shows all the different tricks in a whole bunch of different ways. So if you're looking for a great book on juggling, that's a great place to start. Or you can just jump online and start watching some great jugglers. Tony Pezzo, Wes Peden, Jay Gilligan, Anthony Gatto, Jason Garfield, there's Ivan Purcell, Matt Hall. There's just like so many great jugglers out there that all just do fantastic work. And you watch them and you're either really inspired or really discouraged. Isn't that the way it works sometimes? So hopefully there's some information in here that helps you as you're trying to improve your juggling ability beyond a 3-ball cascade. Whether you're just want to learn some basic 3-ball tricks, it gives you a place to start, or 4 balls or 5 balls, or if you want to take some of the tricks here and push it up to higher numbers, go for it. And so that's my class here for you today. My voice is getting tired, so I'm going to log off. Thanks so much for joining me. I love you guys and I miss you guys. Wish we could be all together this year, and cross my fingers for next year. Hopefully that all happens. But God bless you all. Love you, praying for you. And if there's anything I can do to help, let me know. All right. Bye.